Many times, whenever I'm trying to speak with most of the managers, they always have the same issue repeatedly, repeatedly, repeatedly. They're all God level workers, but they're not seeing it through. They're not able to get to a higher position because they're all trapped in middle management. They're all too good at a job. They're able to do whatever the work which is assigned. They're able to get the predictable results, but they're not able to get promoted. The same thing what we are discussing in today's topic. We will have a dissection of the topics in a different variation. We'll try discussing about why this is happening, what is the differentiation of sponge under a sovereign leader. We'll be dissecting the move technique. We'll be dissecting the 5 levels of the trap. Post that what we can do about it. Here it always depends on how good you are able to drive the things. What are your motives? Is it completely a disappointment? Most of the managers, whenever I'll speak with them or anybody who is at a managerial level, they all go through the same problem. Repeatedly, they go through the same problem of not being able to get promoted. Why they're not able to get promoted is for the same reason that they're not owning the outcome. They're not bringing anything extra. They're all wanting the same repeated activity to be enhanced. Why this big trap? This is the same way how a leader also goes through. This is the same trap repeatedly what they are into. Why most of the leaders are unable to see the vision of getting promoted? It is for the same reason of I have had many friends of mine, still they are managers. They are still managers because of the same reason that they are becoming the victims for empathy tax. As a leader, what I've understood is that you need to differentiate, you need to bifurcate the whole paradigm into a different vertical. My father taught me the same thing about leadership. It is not, leadership is not about how you're doing the things. It is you having the command and you telling it happened under my watch. It literally happened under my watch. Now you guys tell me how many times you have felt this issue. How many times you have gone through this issue? Type. You can type 1 if yes, 2 if it is no. Every time, whenever I speak with my father, he comes from a humble background. But he has taught me that when people are working under him, that you having the empathy tax will always make you a sponge leader. You are a sponge leader. You're not agreeing to it, it's a different matter altogether. My father's lesson has taught me that what kind of a leader I'm supposed to be. There was a scenario where my father told me that this is a real time scenario. What has happened? My father had few workers under him. He was a he was a fruit merchant. He was a fruit merchant. Okay, some of them were used to report to him. So when he was maintaining that shop, Sometimes these employees, they whenever they used to ask something, they were delaying the things. So my father, being that person who already was having an idea about leadership, he gave no mindset or focus to this empathy. If the things are to be done, it is supposed to get done. You don't have any other choice. You can't deny it. So my father's lessons on leadership has taught me, when I am a leader, when I was a leader, I also started implementing the same thing. We've all gone into that. We've all been paralyzed. We're all paralyzed that we will get through the heights of hierarchy, the heights of job promotion through working hard. Sometimes, no, that I'll give you a classic example. People who have not even worked, they got promoted. You always feel this, no? That many a times that you feel that the people who are not working, they are getting promoted. You might be working so God level worker. You're so good at your job, you're so devoted to your job, but you're not able to take up the promotion. It's for the same reason. It is the same behavior. This is a sponge behavior. This is a sovereign leader behavior. I'll give you a classification differentiation now. What does it mean by the sponge behavior? And let me make it, I think that this will be better if I make it this sponge leader. This is a manager. Okay. He is a visionary leader. You know now that many of you are managers who are literally trying to seek the promotions. You're working day in and day out. But what you're not realizing, you are leaving the opportunities because of your ET, empathy tax. Empathy tax is killing your potential. One employee is coming to you, he's saying something. One employee is coming, she's saying something. You're being a victim for empathy tax. You're not able to realize empathy tax is making you a weaker leader. A strong leader or a sovereign leader will always say that I'll expense my empathy later. For me, high stake meetings matter. For me, the high stake meeting matters. So by the time you're reaching 2 p.m., you're gone. You're not able to drive the results because of the very same reason. In the first half, you're completely taken over by the empathy tax. You're drained out. You're literally not having the energy to do anything at anything. Mind is not accepting that level of stress. By 2 p.m., you're done, dusted. You're feeling that I'll be able to carry more things, but it is not happening. You also tell me how many times you have been the victim for that. If you have been the victim for empathy tax, try putting victim. If you have not been the victim, you say that survivor. How many times have we started realizing that these things are important? We're just going along with it. We're just traversing with it. I have a theory that whenever a leader, right, there are three types of leaders. The three types of leaders are like, one is a mediocre leader. A mediocre leader First. Second one is that a good leader. Third is that a great leader. I'll give you the differentiation now. A mediocre leader always accepts the problems and he will always go and start reporting back to the people who are above him. No output. Just like he's plain as a mirror. No outcome, no ownership, nothing. A mediocre leader is just a passage. If he is also not there, she is also not there, the problems will route back to the higher ups. There is no compatibility, there is no management capability from that mediocre leader. Nothing is there. But a good leader, he will go and approach the management and he says, these are the options I'm looking into. He starts thinking what are the possibilities, how I can start handling it. A good leader always knows what is the gravity of the situation. A great leader will always make sure solves the problem but also keeps the higher ups informed. Means he has already solved the problem, but he's also notifying the team of the whereabouts of the problem. What does it mean? A mediocre is a weak leader or a weak employee where people will always have trouble seeing through. A good leader is one where people are habituated to it. You are like trying to solve the problem by not solving the problem by just approaching the higher up. You're telling these are the possible options I can take. And a great leader will always solves the problem, tries completely mitigating the whole problem, then goes and informs it. Then goes and informs to the higher ups. Now you tell me that how many times you have been that great leader. You can type great. If you are a good leader, you can. I can't give you if you are a weak leader. Sorry. You can also type that. You're also a mediocre leader. How many times you have been that leader where people were like looking after the things? Literally, mediocre leader is like people looking after the things. Good leader is the one which he starts taking a support of assessment or like acceptance of the decision. Great leader always owns the decision. He or she is trying to drive the things. That is the difference. We are not seeing through. I'll give you one scenario now, one example where one of my friend who happens to be from Navy. This is how the leadership also fails whenever you're not prepared for the outcome. We're not realizing this. This is how the architecture starts failing. This is how the structural integrity is so vague. So we have not been seeing the things the way they are. Okay. So what we are supposed to see to make sure that whenever we are handling a situation is that our structure integrity is firm or not. Is it having a good capability? Now, let me tell you a scenario. What happened with my Navy friend? My Navy friend, who happens to get into a conversation with a commander, he called him and he started approaching the commander, and the commander gave him a task where he was supposed to go to X place near Sri Lanka or Nepal border. There he was supposed to go and clear the whole task. Operation. It was sort of an operation. So then what happened? He spoke with his colleagues in a sense, reportees. So my friend is in a lieutenant position. So when he is a lieutenant position, 20 of them are reporting to him. He spoke with all these reportees and immediately they started packing the bag. So they all took the bag, they got prepared. Okay. Within an hour, they left. It was a 2 day trip. That whole 2 days operation, they happen to plan. He happens to give these direction. This is what we are supposed to do. Okay. There were apprehensions, but as it is Navy, you don't have a saying. You just need to go according to the plan. There was a direction, there was a clear cut command. He happens to follow that. Okay. So now, after following that, they happen to complete the whole operation within 1.5 day. So, what does it mean here? If you're a sponge boss, you can't drive results. If you're a sponge boss, you can't drive the results. If you are a sovereign leader, people will start following you. That is the difference. That is the difference. Now, let me give you five silent leaks what you're going through. You're not realizing this. The first silent leak is reliability trap. The reliability trap. You're thinking, I'm so loyal, I'm so reliable, I'll get my rewards anytime soon. You're not making any bold decisions. You're not making any bold decisions. Why would they even think of you? You're giving some predictable results. Na? As a leader, this is what I've understood. Many times, whenever I'm speaking with managers or like even at the top level, also people who are at the senior manager level or like senior director level, sometimes it also amuses me. If you're thinking the predictable results are the parameter, they are the predictable results are like the criteria for your growth. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say this. It is not. Your empathy tax is taking the best out of you. You'll not get the due promotions. You'll not get the due opportunities. This is what I've learned from my dad also. My dad's lesson on leadership, it's a firm understanding of what you're supposed to do. Reliability doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So here, what needs to happen? You need to start thinking of execution addiction. So you need to start having execution. Execution addiction is a solution. The way you start executing the things, how you're owning the decision. As I've told multiple times, this leadership is not about what others are feeling about you. It is the architecture of decisions you have made while they were watching you. That is leadership. This leadership is not about you taking a decision. You owning the decision is leadership. You owning the outcome, that is leadership. So the second thing, what you are going through is a one of most of the time this I've spoken like loud and clear, loud and clear. The second problem everybody goes through is consensus death. Always waiting for, always waiting for the team's approval, acceptance. Are you the leader or are they the leader? Why are you waiting for consensus death? Why do you need everybody's approval for every each and everything? You're literally becoming a victim of or a slave to empathy tax. You're literally becoming a slave to empathy tax. You're not realizing this. The gaps are so high. Where is the standard? You're not taking the ownership of outcomes. Just realize this, na? Manager, leader. plus mark, minus mark, this is minus, this is plus. Such a reality. If you're thinking empathy, you being good boss, nice boss, that is helping you, those are all wrong, wrong, wrong. If you're thinking I am a firm leader, I give commands, I spend less of my empathy tax, that is correct, correct, correct. As a leader, you should know that you should not spend empathy like it's a currency. Just tell me, just type in the chat box, have you spent empathy like it's a currency? Type yes if you have done. Type no if you have not done. That is the thing. The differentiation is, have I spent my empathy? So now I'll give you one scenario. This happened in the real world. This is a case study. What has happened? What has happened is that this is a big company in India. They were one of the biggest e-commerce joints. One of the managers happens to get a call from the top management, this VP, senior VP, or like CEO. He was been informed regarding the current issue. This project, this has this trouble. This is a case study. This is a case study about one of the biggest companies from India. It's a global joint also. This company has such a reputation. So the manager was called. The manager was called and he was supposed to take a decision, right? The manager was informed regarding this project happened to get delayed. Find out the possible methods, or like they find out this whole project should go by live by X date. What will a random person, random manager will do? Think about it. Possibly calling out all the people who are his reportees regarding possible delays and trying to seek that consensus from the team why it got delayed, and telling the team that let's start working on it, and delaying furthermore. This is what happens now. This is what most of the leaders will do. Every time become a victim of consensus, seeking approval, approval, approval. I want to be a nice boss. You're not seeing a picture above the wall, beyond the wall. So, how does it matter? It matters at every level. What needs to happen? A manager can get only transition to a leader when he's not acting on the fixed data. You should be able to take up uncertainty. You should act in uncertainty. Then only you can expect an outcome. Leadership is about you acting, you taking decisions in uncertainty. Hmm? So many times we are not seeing that I'm supposed to solve the problems, not build the system. I should see through. Uncertainty is the key. Empathy tax is literally making you a weak leader. One lacuna which you're having is the ownership. The first problem is reliability. Second one is execution. Third one is consensus. Fourth one is empathy tax. Fifth one is ownership. So the five leaks what you're having, the first one is your reliability trap. Second one is your execution addiction. You're just building systems, not solving problems. Third one is your consensus trap, consensus death. Fourth one is your empathy tax. Literally, you are a slave, a servant of a nice boss image. Fifth one is that ownership. You're not owning the decision. So the case study proves that if a manager or a leader happens to take up a decision that I should start driving the results by working in uncertain area, uncertainty. So then the outcomes will be flourishing. Even if it is a failed result, even if it is a fruitful result, you should own the outcome so that you have acted upon it. Start owning decisions. Start making a decision integrity. Your structural integrity matters. Your decision integrity matters. How many of us are thinking about the circle of logic? How many of us are thinking about architecture? How many of us are making architecture decisions? Architecture decisions. How many of us are doing that? We are not doing that actually. We get scared. We get scared of doing it. We are not working on structural integrity. We are compromised. We are not working on decision integrity. We are corrupted. We are comforted. More than corrupted is comfortness. Logic, efficiency. This we are not even seeing this picture. Always we are absorbing like a sponge. Sponge. Absorb. Every time it matters. Manager to leader, it's a transition. You might be managing the things so clearly, so vividly, so strongly, but if you're not able to see the things, it's a wrong. Now, how we are supposed to mitigate? What is the possible technique to start handling this? What you can do to become, what you can do to make it more possible? This is move technique. Manage the uncertainty, own the outcome, validate the boundaries, execute with velocity. This is what proves a leader a leader. We are not realizing this. None of us are thinking that what does it mean? We don't even know. Every time uncertainty, we are asking for checklist. Okay, what are the things I'm supposed to do? Let me start jotting down that. Then you will take the time like eternity. You'll literally be like taking time, and where it is leading to, what it is leading to. Checklist based leader, it's more of like a mediocre leader. You're not doing anything which is extraordinary. You're not taking any risks. Then how can you even expect there is a transition of you becoming a leader? You'll be moved to executive level. No. There is no uncertainty itself. There is no risk you have taken. Next, stop taking consensus, empathy into hands whenever it is used like a psychological shield. If a project fails, own the outcome. If a project succeeds, own the outcome. That's it. That's a clear cut thing. Validate the boundaries. Stop trying to make everybody happy. My sincere, humble request. Stop being that nice boss, yaar. It's not good. Stop being that nice boss. What does matters? As Peter Drucker has said, efficiency is effectiveness. Efficiency is the parameter. Efficiency is the criteria. If you're not able to be efficient, you're driving the whole ship down. My father has told me the same thing about leadership. If you're not able to validate the boundaries, you will not be able to take the output. If I'm taking random inputs and obtaining the predictable results, it is not the parameter. Always think about execute with velocity. What does it mean? Shift your focus from administrative perfection to raw execution speed. Every time, how one person can be differentiated is based on the speed, how quickly you're able to deliver the results. Credibility is a different thing, and you acting, you giving the results within the deadline. That is speed that you are trying to seek. So the shift from process of being a manager to decision owner, the ceiling will start vanishing. You can start calling yourself an asset to the sovereign necessity to the company. It is a lone journey. As I've told multiple times, it's a lone journey. Being a leader is not so easy. Being an employee is so easy. Being a leader is a lone journey. Hardships, troubles, obstacles. You need to come out of your comfort zone. Everything is there. But once you reach a position of a leader, you are being an inspiring personality. Inspiring personality. With move technique, manage the uncertainty, own the outcome, validate the boundaries, execute with velocity. How many times have you not been the victim for any of this things which I've told? Have you been the victim for empathy tax? Have you been the victim for trying to be the nice boss? Have you been the victim for let me take the decisions later? Have you been the victim for not being a risk taker? So it always matters of being a random, a good or a mediocre manager to become a great leader. Your decisions matter. You matter. The level at which you are doing matters. Right? So here I just want to write one thing: manager to leader. Ceiling. Ceiling vanishes. As soon as you start being that person who envisions, as soon as you become that person, a strong person to handle all these different issues, to start being a strong leader. Don't start being a victim to empathy tax. Don't start being the victim to consensus. Don't start building the system, solve the problems, execution addiction, reliability trap. Don't be that loyal thing, be that efficient person, right? So these things matters, right? So every time you tell me now, do you want to become a leader? You can type leader. Do you want to become that same mediocre manager? Okay, you just type manager. So that's it, right? So what do you want to become? Do you want to become a leader? You want to become a manager? What I want to tell you, managers just come, they just drive predictable results, they just move. They're not entitled, they're not taking any risk, they lose the whole game. They'll not get promoted, they'll not take. I'm telling you, as I have seen many of my friends, as I've been a leader, I have understood this also. We are all moving towards let me give that output, let me be that efficient person, but it is not driving anything. We're all trapped in the same middle management. So, that being said, you can start driving the results, give output. Might have seen people not working, them getting promoted, they might be doing something different. You might be a god level worker, but it is time for you to start thinking straight. This episode 2, we happen to speak about the ceiling of there is a ceiling between manager to leader. That ceiling we have tried breaking it up. The paralysis we happen to cure, the disease we happen to cure. Start now, try becoming a leader. As I always say, decision ownership is leadership. Leadership is not about what others will feel about you, it is the architecture of decisions you have made while they were watching you.